I'm not really one for boats, especially after Jaws, and probably not one that says Screamboat. Yeah, not getting on a Screamboat, or whatever that is. But let's find out. Maybe IMDb can tell us what Screamboat is. On the last ferry of the night in New York, passengers and crew are hunted by a merciless rat. Ooh, killer rat. And what should have been a peaceful crossing turns into a bloody massacre. All right, a rat on a boat. Maybe I should call it rat on a boat. No, whatever. All right, this one is a fairly new one, so we'll try to keep this kind of spoiler free. Not sure there's much to spoil. This is yet another one of these property ones that we've done Popeye a million times, and Pooh is gaining traction and starting to put up the numbers. Piglet's coming, and this one is Mickey, and I think I've seen a couple of Mickey themed ones now, and I don't know if I've reviewed any of them, and there's probably a reason for it. So far, it just seems like, just weird Mickeys. The blood is good, but there's nothing else really special about it. And that's, really boils down to any of these movies. I think every time I come on and actually do a review for whether it's Popeye or Pooh or now Mickey, it just seems the same thing. Lots of blood, and that is fun, and you guys know that I like the blood. But everything and anything besides that is just whatever. They continue to obviously draw in the fact to use these characters and change these characters, and that's the draw. And I'm assuming that these movies have made a little bit of money, and that's kind of just what they're trying to do here. Because outside of that, I just don't see any of them doing anything super special with the character in changing the story or doing something with the story. I've gone through it again, like I said, with a couple of these reviews with these films. Some of them have made a little bit better, decent of attempt than others to at least nail something with the character. But to do something really, really special with it, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I guess maybe that's expecting too much. And they're, at the end of the day, just horror movies, just slasher movies, and just really, inserting that character with any other slasher that they would have created, and just done a simple horror movie. This one, I will say, at least gives some attempt to be, for Mickey to be Mickey in a way. And I guess it's not even Mickey, it's Steamboat Mickey or Steamboat Willie. But to, kind of get into that character a little bit and not be something totally, out there. So there is hints of even Disney in there within this story. So I at least credit them for kind of doing that here, to not totally dismiss, the character, the theme, and so forth. Obviously getting on the boat, being on a boat is important. There's reference to many later on. There's some women that get killed. There's reference to them being princesses. So little things like that to kind of incorporate, the whole Disney thing there. So at least give them credit for that. As far as the movie itself, well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on here, and then we'll see what else we have to say about it. It's even kind of odd, even how they even get on this ferry. We have an opening scene, and some people are like working on a boat, and then they get attacked, and they run, and then this other girl And that's kind of, the typical horror opening here. We get the introduction to the killer real early. And soon enough, then we find this other woman who, you thought maybe she was maybe part of that and running for that, but she's not. She's just trying to escape some other girls who are coming from a party. I forgot what kind of party it was, but and these are the princesses that I just mentioned. I can think one of them, it's her birthday, I think, or it was her wedding engagement party or something like that. And she's the main one celebrating. The other one is kind of trying to get away from this party. And, as she kind of enters the area to get on the ferry, the guy that's working there kind of helps her out, tells her to go one direction, and he'll send the girls the other direction. So a very kind of random beginning, like he's just going to help her because he is. And, that's kind of how everybody ends up on this boat. I thought that was just a little bit awkward, but anyway, we have to end up on a boat. So everybody's on this boat. Off the boat goes, of course, this killer Mickey or Willie, whoever you want to. I'm going to just say Mickey, but whatever. Is off. And, of course, everything is kind of okay. We meet a bunch of different characters. Have to put up with these princesses for a little bit and kind of get a slight introduction to them and their nonsense going on, and then obviously the main girl here, and the boat is off, and then of course people are gonna start dying, and of course it is this Mickey character, and he's going to start killing and of course, the one girl, she sees it. She tells people that it's a rat or a mouse or whatever. And, of course, no one believes it until there's more death, and then they believe it. And, then it's, who's going to survive, how we're going to get rid of the rats, and how we're going to save the ferry or get the ferry to wherever it's going. Obviously, there's issues with that and so forth. So all that fun stuff there, so that you can imagine. So as you can kind of see, it is without the hints of the Disney that I mentioned, it is basically a slasher on a boat, and that's really what it is. As far as Mickey himself, I don't know whether to credit them or just say it's weird, or I'm still not sure what to think of it. But, they do this thing that's a little bit different. I think in some of the other Mickey killing movies that I've seen recently, we've seen, maybe you guys seen them too. It's basically, a regular sized person, dressed up as a weird looking Mickey and killing. This time, they kind of go out of their way to keep Mickey as a very small rat, and, I guess film it in a very certain way. I'm not going to go into that. That's not my expertise. But film it in a certain way to keep Mickey very small, but still manage to kill people. And, it might be pushing it, here and there. But I think overall they didn't go totally out of bounds. I think, maybe Mickey can do or gets away with maybe a few things that maybe, by luck or chance or whatever. Because at the end of the day, he's a lot smaller than everybody else. But I don't know. I don't know whether to credit them, complain, what. I guess it's okay. I guess they took a shot. They did something different there. Why not? Like I said, a lot of the other Mickey things have been basically just a person dressed up. So why not kind of keep it more in character, more to the cartoonish kind of thing? But it is awkward. it is a little weird to watch. I guess maybe if we had seen you see more films like that, or kind of done in that way, and changing the size or whatever, maybe it would have been felt a little bit more natural. And I guess maybe that's why. Maybe it just didn't feel as natural. So yeah, so I guess at the end of the day, as far as that part, I'm 50-50 on it. I don't, I'm not really sure how much I loved it or how much I hated it. But yeah, it was certainly different. Also, Mickey does a lot of kind of his laugh or whatever, which was okay, but was also annoying at times. I don't know. But with all of these movies, it is bloody. Mickey is going to make a bloody mess a couple of times. So that is good. We're not going to complain about the bloody messes. He has a large kill. He gets everybody in this room and does something to them. So, he actually manages a decent kill count, I guess, at the end of the day. Props for a small rat. But yeah, there is some bloodiness to it, so we approve of that. Again, a little bit awkward with it, but still, we'll be okay with that. Again, and I guess Mickey is played by Mr. Terrifier, so again, I guess it's just hard to and I guess you don't really see it in him because of the smallness and because of whatever. So, yeah, maybe I should do some reading on how they filmed that, because I don't know. I still don't know what to think of it, really. But yeah, so, at the end of the day, we have the ups and downs of it. And, it just is just another slasher on a boat with some awkwardness and some hints of Disney. And so yeah, I don't know what else to say about these movies. And like I mentioned, we have a Piglet movie coming, and obviously there's going to be more. And I know there's a Popeye movie that I haven't not seen. I think I've seen 2 out of the 3. I think there's 3. But and I think there's hints of more of that. So I don't know. Again, I'm one for doing something new and trying to do something different, but at the end of the day, like I said, they're just another slasher movie. It's just, you could take them out, plug in another character, name him whatever, and that's what it is. Obviously some of them are tied a little bit more and do try a little bit more to the character than others. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I've seen one yet that's just super, super special. Combining everything, combining what story they come up with, combining the character that they're using, and just giving you something really, really all together. I don't know. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think I'm going to give this one 2 pools of blood. I again give props to them nailing some Disney stuff and kind of, keeping it close. Again, for the 1,000th time, not really sure what to make of this whole small Mickey thing. Blood and guts were good. Again, we approve of that, and the job Mickey did, and he, like I said, he gets a decent kill count at the end of the day. But yeah, I think, I just cannot find it in myself to, I think maybe the first Pooh movie, I'd have to go back and look. I may have given it a little bit more pools of blood because it was very bloody. And I guess if it was just that, if it was just basing it on that, then I'd probably give these movies a little bit more. But again, as they do more of them, I just kind of look for something just more from them, and it just, to me, it's not there. So yeah, I'm just gonna give it 2 pools of blood, and the fact that it got a review over some of the other ones that didn't, I guess should get a little bit of credit. but yeah, you know, and then we'll see, you know, which one comes next and what they give us. Expectations are low, as you guys can see. So 2 pools of blood, that is out of 5 for Screamboat. So horrorsquadreviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all my reviews, written and video. Going back, lots of written ones recently, lots of video ones. If you're just interested in the videos, you can like and subscribe. Do everything else that everybody wants to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries, it is okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook information down below. Reach out to me there. Talk about these movies. You like them too or not? Do you struggle with them like I do? And down in the comment section, definitely there as well. Your thoughts on this one and maybe some of the others if you've seen them, and the whole direction of this whole thing that they got going here. So with that, I'll catch you on the next review, horror fans.